Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Beyond the Basics webinar. My name is Nicole. I'm one of the client success specialists here at Yulio, and I'll be hosting today's session. Our main objective for today's webinar is to take a look at some of our more advanced features to help you unlock the full potential of VR and your Yulio license. This training will cover a lot of information, so if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to enter them in the question box and I will answer them during the Q&A period at the end of our session. My contact details are also on the screen now, so if you'd like to follow up on today's webinar with a complimentary training session on anything we did or didn't cover today, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to set that up with you. Lastly, if you do have to leave today's session early, I am recording the full webinar and will send that to all registrants, so you'll be able to watch it later and you can share it with your team as well. So here's our agenda for today's session. We'll start off by going over some ways that you can update your project with things like scene options. We'll then take a look at some project settings that you can adjust. After that, I'll show you client galleries and some project analytics tools. And then we'll go over the project markup report and how to use project markup and live chat in Collaborate. To start off, we're going to open a sample project in my Yulio account and go over some tools that you can use for updating your projects. So starting on the Edit Project page here, under the Scenes tab, the first tool I want to point out is the Download Scene button. This button is shaped like a cloud, and you'll notice it next to all of the scenes in your project. Our download function allows you to download any scene file directly to your computer or other device, regardless of whether it was rendered with Yulio Jump or another rendering engine. And the file downloaded will be the original source file, so you don't have to worry about losing quality. The download tool is particularly useful when used together with the replace function, which I will go over now. So the replace function or button is located to the left of the download button. Simply put, this button allows you to replace any scene in your project with a new scene. Anyone can use the replace function, but our users that render their projects with Yulio Jump, for our users that render their projects with Yulio Jump, the replace and download tools can be used together to make the process of updating your scenes more efficient. So if you use Yulio Jump, you'll know that when you render even just one scene with Jump, it will upload to Yulio as a new project in your account. So with the download and replace tools, anytime you need to update one or more scenes in a project, you can simply download the new scene or scenes from the new project and use the replace function to add them to the original project. So when you do this, you can choose to keep all of your hotspots and other scene data from the original scene, which saves you the time of having to add in those hotspots again. So once I downloaded my scene or my new scene, I would come back to my project, select the replace button, and then upload the file here by clicking on browse. And then once I've uploaded my new scene, I can choose to keep things like my navigation hotspots, my enhancement hotspots, and other scene data from my original scene. Before moving on, I want to quickly note that our download and replace functions are now also available for AR models. So if I go to the AR tab here, you can see that beside all of the AR models I've uploaded, there is that same cloud download button and replace button here. So the process for downloading and replacing AR assets is the same as your scenes. And that's, again, just a simple way to render new AR assets and add them to other projects in your account. All right, and now want to direct your attention up to this tools menu here beside the hotspot editor button. So the next two functions I want to go over are the duplicate and move project functions. So starting with duplicate, which is this button here. So this button allows you to duplicate your entire project, including all assets, navigation, and hotspots. When you duplicate a project, the copied project will upload in the same folder. You can use the duplicate function for a variety of reasons, but as it relates to updating your project, this is a helpful tool if you want to experiment with making changes to your project without potentially affecting or altering the original. Next to duplicate, we have, to the right of duplicate, we have the move project button. This is a helpful tool for moving projects to different folders in your account to organize your projects in whatever way works best for you. So that's just something I wanted to point out as well. The final feature I want to go over as we're talking about updating your projects is scene options. Scene options allow you to easily show your client multiple versions of the same space with different materials, lighting, furniture configurations, and so on. I'm going to open up a different project here to show you an example of how you can use scene options. So to create a scene option group, you're going to start off, actually, let me go back here. You're going to start off by rendering your additional scene or scenes if you haven't already done so. So if you're rendering an additional scene with Yulio Jump, like I said earlier, Jump will create a new Yulio project with that scene, which will look something like this. So that's this project here, Office Space, one scene. So what I would do is come here and download that scene with the download button. Then I would go back to my project that I want to add the scene to, and I would upload it just by clicking on this browse button or dragging and dropping the scene file into this upload box here. I've already pre-downloaded this just to save us some time. So this is that extra scene I've downloaded. It's at the bottom of my list. So to group this scene together with my option one, so I want to group it with my first scene, I would just click on these two lines here. I'm just going to drag that into that scene I want to add it to, and you'll see this little pop-up that says create group. I'm just going to drag it there and drop it, and that will create my scene option group. From here, you can name the group whatever you'd like. I'm going to name this welcome area. And then I'm just going to click on this arrow here to expand the scene option group. So now I can see the two individual scenes that are in this group. And then again, I can rename the scenes here. I already have them named as option one and option two, so I'm just going to leave that. And then you can repeat these steps if you're adding more than one scene option here, or if you want to add scene options to other scenes in your project. So if I have a third option, I could add this in to this group as well. And if I want to add options for the other scenes in my project, I can just, again, repeat those steps. Render the new scene, download it, and upload it here. So when you're done, you can go ahead and view the project. I'm just going to click here on that View in 360 button. So this is what your client will see when you add scene options to your VR project. So if you looked at the bottom of my screen here, you can see these two tabs. This is my scene option group with those two different scene options. So here's scene one. And then when I click on the second thumbnail, I'll have scene two here. So this is a great way to kind of flip back and forth between scenes and see the different design or configurations, materials, and so on. And it's just super easy to help your client make faster decisions. All right, so let's exit that. All right, back to this tools menu here at the top. I want to direct your attention to the project settings. So that's this gear icon here. So when you open your settings, you'll find some project details listed here, including the author of the project and the date it was last modified. Below this, there are a couple of settings that you can modify for the project. The first is project view permission, which allows you to private your project. So by default, all new Yulio projects are set to public, meaning anyone with the URL can view them. In this case, in the case that you've shared your project link with someone, let's say, and now you want to revoke that access, you can update that privacy setting here just by clicking on private. When your project is private, only members of your Yulio account who are logged in and authorized clients can view the project. Authorized clients would be clients who have the project available to them through a client gallery, which we will cover next. If someone who doesn't have access to the project tries to open it, they will just get an error message. Below this, we have the project markup button. So, for those of you who don't know, project markup allows you to record client feedback right within the VR environment during a collaborate session or from your markup report, both of which I will go over in a little bit. Project markup is again turned on for all new Yulio projects. So if you don't want this feature activated, you can turn it off here just by toggling this button to off. As a reminder, any settings you update here will only apply to the individual project you have open. All right, so let's press close there. Now I want to change direction a little bit to talk about sharing your projects through client galleries. So, client galleries allow you to create a collection of up to 20 projects to share directly with your client, or you can create a curated gallery of projects for a VR presentation at an upcoming event or trade show. So, to get started with client galleries, you'll click on the Resources tab here at the top of your page, and then you'll select Client Galleries from the drop down menu. So, next, if you don't have any galleries set up, you'll just click on Create a Gallery. And here you'll see that you have two gallery options available, individual and event. And you can create an unlimited number of either galleries. So starting with individual gallery, this gallery option allows you to create and share a portfolio of projects directly with your client. It provides them a place to log in, view their gallery, and connect a headset. It's a super convenient way to share a collection of projects with a client without having to send multiple project links to them. You can also update your client's gallery at any time, and those updates are reflected immediately. On top of this, if your client has a MetaQuest headset, they can connect their headset to the gallery, and any projects uploaded to that gallery will be sent right to their headset. The second option we have here is the event gallery option. This allows you to create a gallery of projects for an upcoming meeting or event. This would be a great tool to help you manage which projects are showcased on your headset before heading into an event where you might not want to showcase all the projects that are currently uploaded in your generic headset gallery. So let's say that you wanted to create an individual gallery for a client. You'll just click on this button here and you'd be prompted to just enter their name and email. In the next step, you would add projects to the gallery, and then you could preview your invite and then send it to the client, and they'll receive that invitation straight to their email. And I'm just going to show you an example of what the client gallery might look like to your client. So this is a sample gallery I created for myself, and I've added a few projects in there. So when I open my gallery, this is what I will see. Okay, moving on. I'm going to launch a Collaborate session and show you a couple of features within Collaborate that can improve the VR presentation experience for you and your clients. Okay, so as you know, Collaborate is our built in presentation tool that can be used for in person and remote meetings and even at events. When you host a Collaborate session, everyone can meet in the same virtual space to experience the project together. All guests that you're meeting with, whether in person or remote, can join from a VR headset or simply in browser mode. So, the first feature I want to point out in Collaborate is not necessarily an advanced feature, but it is new. So, I do want to give it a quick shout out. So, over the summer, we launched our live meeting function. Live meeting is an integrated tool within Collaborate that allows you to speak to and hear from your guests right within the session. This means that you no longer have to use an external communication or meeting tool to chat with your guests while you're in Collaborate. What's great about this tool is that it works whether your guests are joining from a smartphone, desktop, tablet, or VR headset. To turn it on, you would just click on this Start Chat button at the top of the screen, and you can start communicating in real time with your clients or colleagues that are in the session. I'm going to leave it off today for the webinar, but I do recommend you try it out during your next Collaborate session. And if you have any questions about live chat, you can just send me an email after this. We also have a knowledge base article that goes into a little bit more detail about the function. Next, I want to talk about the markup tool, and that's this button right here. It has a pencil icon on it. So during a Collaborate session, the project markup tool enables you to record feedback about your design right within the VR environment and while your clients are actively looking at them. So with this tool, you can draw directly on the project. So I would just use this pen tool and I can draw on the project. And you can also leave text comments to keep notes and highlight revisions. So can do change and I can save that there. So the best part is any markups you make during the session will be saved and recorded in your project's markup report, which I will take you to now. And just as a note, if we were in a Collaborate session together, as I'm making these markups, my clients would be able to see these markups on their screen as well to follow along. So let's exit out of the Collaborate session and we'll return to the edit project page of this project. Okay, so you can access your markup report for any individual project by opening the project and then clicking on this markups tab at the top of the screen here. So on the right side, you will see a list of text markups that were captured on the project. You can also explore your project fully here just from this frame. Um, and you can see all of the text and drawing markups wherever they were captured across your project. So here's that text markup that I created. If I click on that, it will pop up here on the screen within my project and I can see where that is. And then, of course, I can also see that pencil drawing that I made on the project as well. You can also open up oops, delete comment. You can also open up the project markup tool directly from this page as well. And you can add more markups, you can erase markups, and even clear the scene entirely. A couple of things to note about project markup are that markups can only be made by Yulio users on the account who are logged in. And you can only mark up projects from the browser mode experience. You can, however, view markups from both the browser mode and VR headset experience. All right, so that is it for markups. I now just want to wrap up the webinar by going over our analytics tools. So there are a couple of analytics tools available within your account. The first one I'm going to talk about is Project Analytics, which you can access from the Analytics tab on the Edit Project page of any project in your account. So from the Analytics tab, I'm just going to click on this. You can see the data surrounding how, when, and where this specific project has been viewed, and it breaks down that data by individual view. So at the top of my screen here, we can see some more high level data like total views and average session length. And then when you scroll down, you can see individual viewer data such as date and time it was viewed, approximate location, method of viewing, and so on. I haven't had many views on this project in the last couple of months, so I can adjust the time frame here as well. So I can click on this calendar tool, go back a few months, and then I'll be able to see a little bit more data of some views that were captured earlier in the year or a few months ago. So that's how you can see the viewer data for a single project. Now, if you want to review how all of your projects are performing, you can use the Project Traffic Report tool, which is located under the Resources tab. So you can access that by going to Resources and then Project Traffic Report. So this shows you a report of viewer traffic across all VR projects in your account, and you can filter and sort your data based on date, time, um, and project to produce a custom report that includes only the data that you need. You can also export the data in that report just by clicking on this Export CSV button. All right, that wraps up the Beyond the Basics webinar. I'm just going to return to my slides now. So, thank you all for joining me today. I hope that you were able to learn a little bit more about the many tools and features available in your Yulio account. If you have any questions, you can submit them now in the question box, and I will stick around for the next couple of minutes to answer those. As a reminder, if you do want to book an additional training session with me on anything we did or didn't cover today, my email is up on the screen, so please feel free to reach out and I will gladly work with you to set up a time for us to meet. Of course, you can also contact me anytime if you have any questions that pop up later. So, thank you again for joining me. Like I said, I'll stick around for a couple of minutes to answer any questions that might have come through. But other than that, have a great rest of your day.